Jim and John both saved $1,000 every month. But after a while, Jim was left with nothing, while John became a millionaire. Same starting point, yet their outcomes couldn't be more different. The reason? A simple truth that most people never realize: saving alone is not enough. If you've ever tried to cut back on spending, skipped your morning Starbucks, tracked every little expense on a budgeting app, and still felt like you were going nowhere, you're not alone. Most people are stuck in the same cycle. We've been taught that holding on to money is the key to wealth, but the truth is, money has to work for you, not the other way around. In this video, you'll discover how to save the right way. We'll break it down into 5 clear, simple steps, and by the end, you'll know exactly how to start building real wealth. You don't need more time. You just need to change the way you think. This is the moment you stop just saving and start creating a future you can be proud of. Step 1. Saving alone won't save your financial future today. We need to confront one of the most misguided beliefs on the journey to financial freedom: the false belief that saving more is enough. This is something almost all of us are taught from a young age. Adults always tell us, you have to save money, don't waste it, and be responsible with your finances. It sounds logical, doesn't it? But the harsh truth is, saving alone won't save you. I know this might sound contradictory to everything you believe for years, but you need to hear this, and hear it clearly. If you diligently save $1,000 every month for 30 years, you'll have about $360,000 in your bank account. That sounds like a big number, right? But let me tell you something most people never think about: inflation. Taxes, rising living costs, the cost of healthcare, education, housing, all of these are increasing faster than your savings can accumulate in the bank. And when you retire, that $360,000 might not be enough to last you more than a few years, let alone provide you with the peaceful retirement you dreamed of. The dream of a comfortable retirement could turn into a nightmare of daily money worries. So what's the way out? What path are the truly wealthy taking? This is where you need to understand something crucial, a simple but powerful truth that most people out there have never grasped. Your money needs to work for you. Instead of letting your money sit idly in the bank, you can invest it in the stock market, where historically, the average return after inflation has been 7% per year. The result? No longer $360,000. You'll have about $1.2 million. Yes, the same amount of money, the same period, but the results are drastically different. That's the difference between struggling to retire at 65 and becoming a millionaire before 50. You see, the difference isn't in how much you earn. It's not in how much you save. It's in whether or not you let your money work for you. Saving is just the first step, the foundation. But if you stop there, you're missing the true potential of money. Imagine spending your entire life working hard, sacrificing, saving every penny, skipping out on coffee dates with friends, turning down vacations to save money, only to find out that you're still struggling to make ends meet in old age. That's not just a financial failure. That's emotional pain. Because you followed all the right advice, but no one told you that this system, these outdated pieces of advice, are what's holding you back. Those who understand financial principles don't work for money all their lives. They let money work for them. And you can do the same. You don't need to be an investment expert, and you don't need millions to start. You just need the right knowledge and the right actions. You just need to know there's another path, a path that doesn't rely solely on saving enough, but on creating real value through smart investing. And I know this might scare you, because investing sounds risky. You worry you don't know enough. You worry about losing money. You worry you don't have the time to learn. But remember this: the biggest risk isn't making a bad investment. It's not investing at all. Because every day you leave your money sitting still, you're letting opportunities slip by. And the truth is, the longer you wait, the more you lose. This is the moment to rise up, take action, and rewrite your own financial story. Don't let years of hard work lead to just scarcity. Let every dollar you earn multiply in value. Be the one who decides what your future will look like, independent or dependent. And it all starts with daring to step outside the old boundaries and believing that you deserve a better life. Saving is necessary, but investing is the key that will lead you to lasting wealth. Step 2. Remember, inflation is quietly stealing your money, let me share a brutal truth that no one wants to hear. Do you think your savings account is safe? In reality, with each passing day, the actual value of that money is silently being eroded by an invisible enemy called inflation. In 2024, the inflation rate is 2.9%. It may seem insignificant, and many people might brush it off as nothing to worry about. But let me put that number into real-life perspective so you can see how it's affecting your wealth. Imagine you have a typical savings account, like the kind your parents used to have. These accounts usually offer interest rates around 0.41% per year, a tiny figure you barely even notice. Meanwhile, inflation is quietly working behind the scenes, gradually draining your purchasing power bit by bit, day by day. Let me break it down with a simple example. You have $100,000 in your savings account. With an interest rate of 0.41%, you'll earn about $410 in interest for the entire year. You might think, it's not much, but at least it's something, right? Hold on though. Let's factor in the 2.9% inflation rate. With that number, the real value of your $100,000 decreases by $2,900 that same year. In other words, you're getting $410 from the bank, but losing $2,900 because of the devaluation of money. If we break it down monthly, you're getting about $34 from the bank, but at the same time, losing about $240 in value due to inflation. Do you see the paradox here? It's like someone gives you a dollar bill and then immediately takes away $7 from you every month, and you don't even realize it, still thanking them for helping you save safely. Sadly, many people still feel proud of this. They believe that keeping their money in the bank is a smart move, that they're protecting their wealth. But the real question should be, protected from what? From growth? From building wealth? In truth, it's a false sense of security, a mental trap created by outdated thinking. We live in a society where people believe that simply saving is enough. They beat themselves up for not saving more. They refuse small joys to save money, and then pat themselves on the back for saving $53 this month. But they're playing the wrong game. They're competing in a contest where the rules changed long ago, but they just don't realize it. Because today, building wealth isn't about how much money you can hold on to, it's about how you make your money work for you. And that doesn't happen in an old savings account. It only happens when you invest. Look at the difference. On one side, you let your money sit idle, getting eaten away by inflation every day, losing value year after year with nothing to counterbalance it. On the other side, you take that money and put it into the market, where it has the chance to earn returns, grow, create value that outpaces inflation and withstand the test of time. This is not just talk. It's the truth you need to face. Because if you keep believing that saving is enough, you will forever be a slave to money instead of letting money work for you. And the danger is you won't realize you're losing until it's too late. When old age catches up with you, when rising living and healthcare costs overwhelm you, when everything you thought was enough becomes pitifully insufficient in the face of reality. But today, you're hearing this not to be afraid, but to awaken. Because once you understand that inflation is taking more from you than any expense, you'll see clearly that change is necessary. It's not about stopping saving, but about shifting from simple saving to strategic investing. You don't need to be a financial expert to do this. You just need to realize that safety isn't what you think it is anymore. And sometimes, the biggest risk isn't making a bad investment. It's doing nothing at all. Step out of that false sense of security. Don't let your money waste away in the bank while you sweat to make ends meet each day. Let every dollar you earn become a soldier, fighting for you, working for you. Because only when you begin to invest will you truly start creating freedom. And freedom is the ultimate destination of wealth. Step 3. Saving alone isn't enough. Investing is the key to real wealth. Before we dive into investing, where true wealth is created, I want to clear up a common misconception that many people carry with them, that you need to have a professional to be able to invest. Sound familiar? I don't know anything about investing. Should I ask people I know in finance companies to help me invest? No, you don't need that. In fact, most financial advisors charge a fee based on a percentage of your assets. typically around 1%. And 1% might sound like a small amount, right? But look at the long term. Over the course of your lifetime, that 1% will chew up more than 25% of your total returns, meaning hundreds of thousands of dollars that could have been yours will end up in their pockets as service fees. They're not stealing your money, but you're giving it away without even realizing it. However, I'm not saying that working with a financial advisor is always a mistake. In certain situations, it could be a smart decision. For example, if you're nearing retirement, if you have a large portfolio that needs professional management, or if you've had a significant jump in income or net worth, like a big salary increase or your company goes public and you own shares, then seeking a reliable, knowledgeable financial advisor to help you plan correctly is the right move. But most people aren't in those special situations. The truth is, you don't need to be a genius or have an experienced guide to start building wealth. Because most millionaires didn't get rich by winning the lottery, inheriting from grandparents, or striking it rich in some bizarre investment. No, they did it through very ordinary but consistent steps. In fact, 79% of millionaires in the US are self-made, meaning they didn't receive a penny in inheritance. They didn't start out with some extraordinary advantage. They were just like us, once worrying about paying the rent, tuition fees, and household expenses, just like you are right now. But what they did differently was they invested regularly with discipline over a long period of time. Numbers don't lie. 75% of millionaires say they built their wealth through consistent investing over time. Not because of luck, but because of persistence. So please, don't let yourself get swept up in the flashy illusions on social media. Don't believe the people posting pictures of how they became wealthy overnight through cryptocurrency trading. You see people showing off a luxury car, an expensive watch, or a lavish vacation, but you never see what's behind it. Maxed out credit cards, unpaid loans, or simply a hollow performance to impress others. Real, sustainable wealth doesn't need to be flaunted. It doesn't need to be bragged about. True wealth comes from making smart financial decisions, repeated over many years. Most truly wealthy people are the ones you don't even notice. The small business owner living frugally. The couple working normal jobs, but investing wisely every month. Or the tech employee quietly contributing to an investment fund for 20 years. They aren't chasing quick riches, they're building it slowly, bit by bit. They don't follow trends, they aren't swayed by outside opinions, they stick to their strategy. And you can do that too. You don't need to be a market expert. You just need to start with a small amount of money, but with great consistency. Remember this, saving is the beginning, but investing is where real wealth is built. If you keep your money in a savings account, it will just sit there or even lose value over time. But if you invest, your money can grow, earn returns, and open doors to financial freedom you never even imagined. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't think you're not ready. The truth is, no one is ever really ready. They just start. Then they learn, adjust, and grow. Be the one to start today. Not tomorrow. Not when you're less busy or have more money. But right now. Because every day you don't invest is an opportunity missed. And you deserve a better financial future. Not just for you, but for those you love. Step 4. Automate your wealth now. I'm going to reveal one of the true secrets of the wealthy. Something incredibly simple and highly effective, yet few people know about or apply correctly. They don't sit around each month wondering, wait, is today Tuesday or Wednesday? Is it time to transfer money into my investment account? What was the password again? No, they don't do that. The wealthy don't waste their precious time wrestling with mundane, manual tasks like that. They know that time is the most valuable asset, and to truly build sustainable wealth, you need to optimize everything, especially the investment process. That's why they set up systems to make their investments fully automated. No more sitting around remembering, no more logging into apps every time, no waiting until you're in the right mood to transfer money. It's all set up, and it completely changes the game. Imagine you could build wealth without thinking about it every single day. Money is deducted from your paycheck as soon as it's received and automatically distributed into the investment funds you've chosen in advance. The right amount, on the right day, with no effort required. It happens quietly, consistently, like breathing. Every month, No matter if you're busy with work, on vacation, or going through a tough time in life, the investment still happens. You don't have to do anything extra. And the magic is you start to see the accumulation. Month after month, year after year, your wealth grows. It doesn't come from one big decision to cut spending or a lucky lottery win. It comes from hundreds, thousands of small investments, automatic, persistent, uninterrupted. And then, one day, you look at your investment account and realize you've built up a massive asset without struggling every day. That's the power of automation. You don't need extraordinary willpower. You don't need iron discipline. You just need to set up the right system, then let that system work for you. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't need to stand there every day yelling at it. Grow faster. You just plant in the right spot, water it properly, and then let the sunlight and time do the rest. Investing is the same way. Once you set up an automatic investment system, you've laid a solid foundation for long-term wealth. And this isn't something complicated or out of reach. Today, there are countless tools, platforms, and apps that can help you set this process up in just a few minutes. You can choose the transfer day, the exact amount, select your investment portfolio, and the system will take care of it for you like a Swiss watch, precise, stable, and reliable. What's amazing is the longer you let it run, the more powerful the effect of compound interest becomes. Every month you invest, your money doesn't just grow, it earns interest on the interest. It's a snowball that starts small, but the more it rolls, the bigger it gets. And once you've set it up right, you won't need to push it anymore. It will roll on its own. I want you to imagine the feeling. You wake up on a Monday morning, check your account, and see your wealth grow without doing anything at all. No late nights working extra. No missing time with family. No sacrificing your health. Simply because you've let your money work for you in a smart way. While others are still trying to discipline themselves to save each month, you've long passed that phase because you're not relying on willpower, you're relying on the system. And the system doesn't get tired. It doesn't forget. It doesn't hesitate. It works for you even while you sleep. Remember, the wealthy don't get rich because they're super smart or incredibly lucky. They simply know how to design their financial life strategically. They don't let emotions dictate their investments. They set up systems and then let those systems do the heavy lifting over time. And you can do the same. You don't need to wait for another day. You don't need to wait until you're better with finances. You just need to start. Set up automatic investments today and let time prove the power of the smart decisions you make now. This isn't just a way to get rich. It's the way to freedom. Step 5. Diversify your income streams. It's time to get real about a mistake that so many people make, obsessing over cutting small expenses while forgetting the one thing that can truly change your financial life: increasing your income. Aren't you tired of hearing the same old advice? Stop drinking coffee. Save $3 a day. Seriously, what's the point? At 90 years old, will you have enough money to buy a pair of jeans? It's ridiculous. We don't live to pinch pennies like that. You weren't born to spend your life obsessing over spreadsheets, cutting costs on every coffee, every meal out, every little joy. I don't care what app you use to track your spending, how many columns are in your Excel sheet, or how many budget lines you draw. The truth is, how much can you really cut back? 20%? 30%? At most, that's it. But what about your income? There are no limits to how much you can increase it. You could grow it by 50%, 100%, or even 250% if you focus in the right way. And this is where most people go wrong. They dive headfirst into saving, but overlook the one thing that can actually change their life: making more money. So why waste your life worrying about $4 coffees instead of focusing all your energy on 3 simple things? 3 things that can actually create real wealth? First, negotiate your salary. It sounds big, but have you even tried it? A conversation lasting less than 10 minutes with your boss or HR could net you an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a year, without changing jobs, without learning anything new, just by showing your value to the company. How many times have you sat there working hard, giving it your all, and still getting paid the same because you didn't speak up? Don't let silence cost you tens of thousands of dollars just because you're afraid of rejection. You deserve to be paid what you're worth. Second, start a side hustle. You don't have to quit your day job. You just need to start with something you're good at: writing, designing, tutoring, cooking, consulting, whatever it is you do better than most. Think about it. If you make just an extra $1,000 a month from a side gig, that's $12,000 a year. In 5 years, that's $60,000. That's your kids' education, a new room in your house. The first investment you need to start your journey to financial freedom. And third, the most important, learn high-value skills. These skills don't just get you more jobs, they increase your earning power forever. Learn sales, and you unlock the opportunity to become your own boss. Learn marketing, and you can build a personal brand and products. Learn management, and you open the doors to leadership positions. These aren't meaningless online courses that you buy from ads. These are practical, real-world skills that will help you rise in any environment, any industry. They are the leverage that will help you increase your income exponentially without working double the hours. When you shift your focus from saving to earning, you start to see a much brighter future. You're no longer counting every penny, but thinking about how your money is being invested and growing. You don't feel suffocated by a budget anymore. You feel empowered. You're in control of your life, your cash flow, your future. And this isn't just for the smart or lucky ones. It's for anyone who's ready to change their mindset. You don't need to wait until you're perfect. You just need to take action. A salary negotiation. The first step in your side hustle. A new skill. Every decision you make today will create results for years to come. Don't let your life be limited by an old, outdated budget. Live with a bigger vision. Focus on creating income, not just saving every penny. Because when you learn to make more money, you won't just live better. You'll live richer with more meaning and more freedom. And in the end, that's the life you truly deserve. Now you know the truth. Saving alone isn't enough. If you truly want to build lasting wealth, you must invest. You need to make your money work for you. You can't keep working tirelessly for money. Automate your cash flow so everything runs smoothly, even while you sleep. And most importantly, focus on increasing your income. When you invest smartly and earn effectively, you'll create a life that's not just comfortable, but also free and deserving of you.